Hi everyone, I'm Amir. Thanks all for joining. I know it's a couple of hours before the finals. I know people are already starting to cook things, so thanks for spending time. What I wanted to share with you today is how I essentially use the AI tools to develop different products, and specifically, I'm open sourcing one of the tools that I'm using, and I think it's very useful. It's got a combination of two products, actually, the UI part, which I call it the Command Center, and the infrastructure part, which is Watchtower. So I'm going to share this with you. And hopefully within 20 minutes, we can finish with the slides and I can do some fun demos. And I'll leave some time for questions and you should be out by 8:45. So just starting with a few words about myself. By education, I'm an engineer, but I've been working for 20 years at companies like Google and Meta and Instagram in the Bay Area. I'm right now visiting Israel, but this is what I've been doing, leading products. And I left big tech about a year ago to start my own thing, and I'm building platform for small businesses to adopt AI. What you see on the screen is like some of the things I'm working on. So I have an app for a fitness studio. You can see it on the left. It's called BookYourMat. I have a software for real estate agents that helps them find leads out of the national listings. And as you can see on the right hand side is the system I'm going to talk about today, which is, I call it CCC. Feel free to stop me at any point. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. So the main premise here is that when I started, I just wanted to ship things and I wanted to ship things fast. And just working one session at a time with the existing model just didn't cut it. And then I thought, okay, how can I build a system that I can move fast? I can build real things, it's like production quality. And then I can also save tokens, because it's very easy to just put everything on these days on Fable or Opus, but you're going to run out of tokens very quickly. So we're going to talk about how we're trying to achieve all that. The three things that I discovered, at least, that were a challenge for me was I started to have sessions everywhere. I initially had one monitor with terminals, and then I bought another and I put it next to me, and I'm using the Mac monitor, and started to get sessions everywhere. And it didn't scale. I'm going to talk about it. The second thing, as I mentioned, how do we handle tokens and ensuring quality while we do it? And the third thing, which I noticed, is as you're starting to scale and build more projects and have more functions within your system, these functions want to communicate between them. And I ended up building a system for that as well. So let's go through each of these three things. So the first one is the sessions everywhere. As you can see, this is actual terminals I was running, different colors to tell apart. Then came the desktops of the world, the Claude desktop, anti-gravity. But the problem with them is that they give you a flat list. It's not across multiple models, so you have to still use multiple IDEs. There's very little information in those IDEs that helps you. Oh, is the session stuck? Is it is it out of context? What is the quality? Is it on WordPress or not? Very basic. So the first thing I did is to go ahead and build something called Claude Command Center. I can actually show it to you live, which is a place that you can see all your sessions in one place. This is my own local disk. And the nice thing about it, I'm going to show more in the slides, but the nice thing about it is that every single session on your disk, even if it was created before the system was installed, you're going to see it. So nothing is lost. It's a cross system. So you can see here sessions from Claude, you can see sessions from Codex. This is I built it today. It's like a Kimi sessions, and all of them are available for read, and you can also interact with them. You can actually take a session and you can write something, and you can just interact with it. Even if it was something you worked on 5 weeks ago, it will just wake up and you will start communicating. There are something like 4 or 5 mechanisms to identify the states of your sessions, and if you need to wake them up, if there's different ways to inject the interaction with them, but we've done that. The other thing which is nice is that there's a lot of data on each of these sessions. So the first thing is your model, and you can see here if it's like $1, $2, $3. If I'm using Fable or Opus or whatever that is, obviously you can also change the model that you're using. You can see here the percentage of your context. So you can see here this webinar prep, which is for today. I'm at 81% context. If I click on it, it will actually compact it. I will not do it right now. And there's some more detail which is useful. You can see work trees if you're working in a work tree, and overall is easier to manage, but that's not everything it gives. As I started building the system, the one thing I noticed is that I can actually give every session a session ID, and then with that session ID, it will be uniquely identifying them, and I'll be able to I'll be able to refer to them in other sessions that I'm working on. So for example, this session is called positioning, but it has this ID. If I click on it, this ID is now copied, and I can go to a different session, I don't know, like this one, and say, hey, check out what I've been working on in this code, in this UUID. So I have 2 sessions, a new session I'm starting on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, I have an existing session. I think it's this one. I'm going to take its ID, and I'm going to ask this session a question, how are you doing, using CCC orchestration. And then I'm going to use Claude, but it works with any model. So the right-hand side is Claude that are available. As you can see here, it's It says asking session directly, and it says, how are you doing? And this one replied, and then the reply came back to the session. The next thing you can do, if we're already in the demo section, the next thing you can do is actually start a group chat with a few of them. Let's use this one. Yeah. This is a session that I invited. I started it myself, and then I invited 2 sessions. I basically was working on a product, and I just wanted the engineering team to work with the copywriting team. So I brought the README owner and the growth ops. And the goal I told them is like, okay, then we want to make the README world class. Basically, at this point, they are starting to discuss. So one session joins and is writing, okay, here's a proposed split. I suggest we'll do 1 and you'll do 2. And then the other session answers and says, okay, let me first give the status. And then they're either agreeing or they're like disagreeing. At the end of it, they're saying like, okay, here's some decisions we're making, and they're agreeing and like they're finalizing their work and they're continuing their work. So this is one example. Now with that orchestration, you can, the one thing I'm using it the most is just to spawn work across different models. So in order to save tokens, because the CCC orchestrator knows how to spawn new sessions across all these models, all I need to do when I'm starting a new project is I'm giving a guidance to the session that says, hey, if you're doing planning, use Fable. If you're doing, when you go to do execution, use CCC to spawn cheaper models. And then the agent by themselves, when they get to the execution part, they'll use CCC and they'll spawn new sessions on across models. So they might use Codex, more of the cheaper model. Now they're using Kimi and stuff like that. I can give an example of that. Let's build a website for I don't know, the World Cup final. You put it in a different, and then I can say use CCC orchestration to spawn Fable or to use Fable for planning and Codex 5.6 for execution. Now the other thing it has its own matrix of cost and models, so you don't even need to say Codex 5.6. You can say just use cheaper models or more expensive models, and it will by itself it will read from the web what are the latest models that are more expensive and less expensive, and more sophisticated and less sophisticated. We'll send it. I'll do the same trick. I'll show it on the side, so you'll see it side by side. You'll see that the Fable session will send to the master, and you see it just appeared. I didn't write anything. It appeared, hey, succeeded. These are the details of the plan. And now the original session on the right-hand side will spawn a Codex, and so on and so forth. The last thing I wanted to show, which is again goes, I think, in the same bucket of like trying to expedite and accelerate the work, is I added something called queues. And queues is simply a list of tasks that I can either start manually by clicking play on each one, or I can have a worker that started automatically. Let me give you an example. Take the last 5 issues and start a new queue. I don't know, like Webby 2. I'm just making Webinar 2. When you're storing things in a list that is runnable or spawnable, things become much faster. Compare that with storing something in an MD file. You have like 5 sentences in an MD file stuck. Instead, let's say I want to now fix this issue. I'm just clicking play, and a background worker will start working on this problem. I can also, and this is what I do in a lot of my queues, I have an auto drain. So usually I don't even click play. Everything that gets into this queue is automatically handled. And this is how I manage most of my products. And I'll give you an example. I have the studio software, which is BookYourMat. This is the queue for BookYourMat. It's even connected to GitHub. So every time one of my customers is opening an issue, it gets here. And if I open a new issue, I'm just going to do it just for sake. It's like, I don't know, like make sure homepage is accessible. Then what will happen is that a new item will go into the queue. And because I have auto drainage for this queue, it's on auto drain. It will automatically spin up a worker and will execute on that feature or bug that I wrote here. I don't spend time working with sessions directly. All I do is like I open this bug and I open this bug. All my products have like this quick way to point a DOM element, and I click and it automatically goes into one of my queues and then automatically running. And all of this, there's a CLI version of that, so you don't have to use the UI. You can actually spawn all the queues and the workers. All of that is working also just for your command line and like for your Cloud Code session. My BookYourMat studio software, it is actually deployed on Vercel. Every queue has its own instructions. So queues for production will have an instruction. When you finish your queue, the instruction will be for them to do a deployment and fix that bug or whatever. The other nice thing is that the first thing they do is they read a file specific for that queue. And when they finish the work, they write into that same file and they write the learnings from what they worked on. So over time, you get agents, even though it's not the same instances, but they're becoming smarter and smarter about fixing and building features in that same area. I built a queue that's called Ops, like tech ops. And that was because a lot of my workers said I didn't have access to Gmail, so I couldn't send that. Or I didn't have access to Chromium, so I couldn't test that. So I told them, any problem that you have, spawn a ticket to this ops queue. And the ops queue is, again, it's automatically drained, and you can see it actually, there's already the 400. It started like a month ago. It's pretty active. So every technical issue on my machine is getting here. Puppeteer is not working. This is not working. And what's interesting is that this ops workers, they became expert at solving machine problems and problems that the regular workers would not deal with. They're solving it. So it's like, it's working pretty well. Anyways, this is in a nutshell. Any other questions?
Yeah, how can we try it?
It's on GitHub. Yeah, you can just download. If you have a Mac, there's also a DMG file to install. I'm good. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.